This is WNBC for New York. And now, this is News for New York.
Well, once it gave pleasure not just to thousands of filmgoers, but to admirers of beautiful buildings. Tonight, there are hopes of restoring the faded glory of an abandoned movie palace in Flatbush. Julian Phillips reports.
The Loew's King's Theater opened in September of 1929, 1 month after the stock market crash. The huge building on Flatbush Avenue was home to silent movies and the great vaudeville acts of the 20s and 30s.
The Loew's King's is the third largest theater in the entire city. Number one would be the Radio City Music Hall. Number two would be the Madison Square Garden, the new Paramount Theater.
It was a magnificent piece of architecture, creating hundreds of jobs, dreams, and lasting memories.
It's like working in a palace. And I got to see all the films for free.
Well, this great stage hasn't seen an act in years. And in fact, the entire theater was shut down during the 70s. But after 13 years of neglect and devastation, there are efforts underway to bring it back to life. The theater was literally left to rot away, but Bruce Friedman got money, $1.4 million from the borough president's office for some repairs. Now the search is on for a developer.
Developers that have expressed interest and are negotiating with the city are a little gun shy because of the money at this point.
I think you're going to like this picture.
Opening the same day as the Loew's Paradise, the King's was considered the treasure of Brooklyn, as well as the jewel in the Loew's crown. This Wonder Theater was the 25th largest theater in the United States and the first to be specifically designed for talking pictures. The first show was Evangeline, starring Dolores Del Rio. And bringing Broadway to Brooklyn, Del Rio also starred in a live stage show featuring the glamorous Chester Hale Chorus Girls.
For relatives of mine that, of course, older than I, they used to see live shows here when they were younger. And then it became live shows and a movie, and then it became, of course, all movie theater.
Patrons couldn't help but be impressed when they walked under the King's 40-foot-wide marquee into a French Renaissance palace. It had a grand lobby 70 feet long with 30-foot-high walls covered with walnut paneling.
There's something about the Loew's King's that is classy, and there's a good reason why, because the main two design elements were the Palace of Versailles and the Paris Opera House. The lobby was overpowering. It was so majestic, so grand, so classy, that it really left you dumbstruck. In a way, you felt like you were walking into a magnificent synagogue or church.
It's a wonderful experience to come here to the King's Theater, which I have not visited during the last 50 years when I actually worked on it. To enter these lobbies that are so lush and rich in their expense and in their concept of design.
The chandeliers, not one, not two, there had to be maybe, I'd say 4 to my recollection. And the beautiful furniture, the sofas, everyone used them. The works of art, the fountains, even the water fountains from which you drank, it was nothing like today. And then, of course, the grand staircase going up to the balcony. The words sometimes escape me, especially now, just how beautiful it really was.
Here we have 2 enormous foyers and lobbies that are rich, if not richer than the theater itself, because in those days the theaters were so popular and so well attended that people spent a great deal of time on line waiting to get into them. During that wait, they felt that they were part owners. They owned the place. It was theirs for the hours for which they had paid their money. And we wonder really how these owners who built the theaters, why they made them so rich. Because they had, whether knowingly or unknowingly, realized that besides showing a picture and entertaining the people, they wanted to give them a lift, give them a sense of their own importance.
This is Bruce Friedman for That's Brooklyn, and I'm freezing, but we're inside the Loew's King's Theater on Flatbush Avenue, and today is the day where the mayor and the borough president of Brooklyn announced that the theater is going to be totally restored and brought back to the way it looked in 1929. Only it's not going to be a multiplex, it's going to be a center for the arts with live entertainment, concerts, as well as Broadway road companies.
For over 40 years, the Kings had a good run.
A couple of animal acts or a balancing act, juggling. If all this sounds familiar and you never saw vaudeville, well, I could be describing the Ed Sullivan Show, because really, the Ed Sullivan Show was television vaudeville. Eddie Cantor, Jimmy Durante, Bob Hope, Milton Berle, every one of the people I mentioned earlier, they played vaudeville in this theater, but they also played vaudeville on radio, in the movies, and later on the Ed Sullivan Show. So Ed Sullivan brought back vaudeville.
Barbra Streisand was an usherette in the 50s while attending nearby Erasmus High. When she left, Streisand was said to have remarked that one day she would be back when her name appeared on the marquee. Her prediction came true again and again. But low attendance and high maintenance costs did the theater in, and by '77, the house went dark.
There was less interest in going to see one movie in one theater, and that's when the concrete bunkers, the multiplex, just boxes came to be, and people forgot what's behind the wall, behind the iron gate, here at the Loew's Kings.
I think you'll find the Kings reflective of many other urban centers where movie theaters that were this large, we're talking about 3,700 seats approximately, that frankly the movies, a single movie, was no longer generating that type of audience.
Loew's sold it, I think, for some ridiculous, like $1, to another operator who ran it into the ground, and that was it. Then the city of New York took over, the Economic Development Corporation, and they have tried periodically to find a developer who could reopen this theater, and they're still trying.
The Loew's Kings poses a challenge. Obviously, there are significant restoration costs in terms of preserving and restoring it to its original design. So there's a significant capital investment that must be secured.
This place needs a lot of work, there's no question about it. But I think that it could be a regional destination, having people come from all over Brooklyn, if not elsewhere.
These are theaters that need to be saved. They're a important part of our history, and to bulldoze them down is just unfathomable. You know, they can't be rebuilt anymore, you know, at the course of things today. So we must respect them, maintain them, fight for them, save them, and put them back into use.
The Kings today is a mature lady who is crying out for a complete makeover. She's crying out. She's waiting. Her beauty is there, but it needs to be polished.
My feelings today are really no different from every other time I've been in here. I've been in here maybe 100 times, and I see damage, and I see what could be done to fix it. I have a positive attitude. I believe that this place could be put back in shape, but when I walk in, it's cold, it's damp, it's dark, it's musty and dingy. You can't get away from that. You can't get around it. But the thing is that you have to be an optimist when it comes to something like this.
The opportunities are in front of us. So we either let it happen or make it happen. Let it happen is not happening. It's almost 30 years now. We sit here in a magnificent structure that's gotten a little mature, a little older, and really needs a major improvement. And I'm confident that we're going to make it happen. The Kings is a passion with me, no question about it. Brooklyn is where legends are made and dreams come true. We need to help shape the future by bringing back a little bit of yesterday.
A place like this would never be built again. The Kings is a place that is totally unique. I look around and I'm sad, but at the same time, somehow I feel exhilarated. Because the Kings is not dead, it is not forgotten.
Well, I do not go to the movies very often, if at all, quite honestly. And when I did for a while after that, it was nothing to compare to the Kings. I would just love to see this theater back up again. It's a terrible loss because it was just something so wonderful to see.
And all what you see here is going to be restored. If there's plaster work, and the plaster work is beat up or chipped like this, it's all going to be brought back to the way it looked way back then.
You have to recognize the value, you have to find a way to rescue them, you have to restore them. We have a brilliant restoration team. Martinez & Johnson is the premier theater restoration architect in the country. Somewhere here, Jeff Green with Evergreen Architectural Arts is the best at restoring old theaters like this.
Jeff Green has done more restorations of classic theaters around the country than anyone, and he does it better. This is a 3,192-seat theater, and it's going to bring such new life back to Flatbush, but it's not going to be a local theater. It's going to be a destination where people from all over Brooklyn can get to see the entertainment that they want to see. And what we have here is a stage with a proscenium arch. But what's happening behind the proscenium arch is that they're going to tear down the stage, the dressing rooms above, and build a brand new stage house, a 60-foot deep stage where the present stage is only 30 feet. That will allow all kinds of big production numbers for live performances to be done here at the Kings. This is the third largest performance space in the city of New York. You have Radio City Music Hall, the theater at Madison Square Garden, and the Loew's Kings. We could talk about the Barclay Center, but that's not a theater. This is a theater.
I can remember walking up these stairs many times with a girl on a date on a Saturday night at the Loew's Kings. You couldn't ask for a better place to be, the balcony. In fact, everybody wanted to sit in the back row of the balcony. This is the Loew's Kings. It's closed, but even with the destruction, the theft, the decay that you see, this place is still beautiful. It still retains class.
The bathrooms are not just bathrooms here at the Loew's Kings. They're really sitting areas. The men's room up here on the mezzanine has King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table in gold leaf right over the entranceway. If you go to the ladies' room, you have a lounge and a fireplace and beautiful ornate Victorian furniture. So everything was done to the hilt.